I hope you guys are ready for another unrefined video. Seems like you guys like these videos when I just start talking. So I'm gonna just start talking, man. I want to talk about, a lot of you guys have asked me, well, first of all, a lot of you guys have said you like my system, man. I'm truly appreciative, man. I'm not just saying that just to sound like, pretend humble. I'm really happy that you guys like my system. A lot of you guys have asked for tuning advice, and I've given the same answer every time, and that is I don't share my particular tuning because my system is set up completely different than how yours would be, and I don't want to give you tuning advice from my system and then you try it in your system and it doesn't work out. Then you're mad at me, you're cussing me out and all that stuff because you feel I gave you the wrong parameters. So I try to avoid doing that for that exact reason. Now, one thing that I did share, and I'll share again in this video for anybody who hasn't seen the previous videos, is I'll tell you my frequency spectrum. My system is a three-way system up front, all active, and then I have rear fill components that I actually use only when I have passengers in the car. I don't use it for myself because I like the presence that it has up front when it's just me, because it's just for me. But when I have passengers in the car, I turn the rear fill on. I fade. My rear fill is running off my head unit power, and I fade my head unit back a little bit. When it's just me, it's faded all the way forward. When I have rear passengers, I'll fade it back. It's all the way forward at plus 25 or whatever. I'll fade it back to like 16 or something like that. Excuse me. I'll fade it back to like 16 or something like that. That way, if you're sitting in the back seat and it's just the front on only, what you hear is some of the front. It's not as loud in the back seat, of course, but it's very full, very present here in the front. If you're sitting in the back seat, you hear some of this up front, and then you just hear the sub. And the sub back there by itself doesn't sound good. Even though you can hear some of the front, it's not a good blend because it's too much separation. So when I have rear seat passengers, I'll, let me turn my blinker off just for the sake of this video. When I have rear passengers, I turn the rear fill on. That way, the rear fill works with the front, pulls the front back, and then it blends with the sub. So instead of having front, nothing, sub, now you have front, a little bit of rear fill that works in conjunction with the front stage, and then the sub, and it makes it sound brilliant up front for everybody, as well as people sitting in the back seat. It's all a good blend for everybody that's in the car. It's a better, more enjoyable experience. So anyway, I digress. My system is a three-way system up front. So in my doors, in the factory locations, I have 8-inch drivers, Image Dynamics subwoofers, 8-inch subwoofers, but I'm playing them as mid-bass. And then in the dash factory locations, I have Morel Elate Carbon MM3, 3.5-inch mids. And then my tweeters are Morel Elate Carbon Alto tweeters. And then my rear fill, of course, 6.5 Morel Maximo Ultra 602 HE MK2. The HE stands for high efficiency. Their sensitivity is 94 dB, so they run off a head unit power with no issue, which is perfect for my system because that's what I wanted to run them off of. And then my sub in the back, I have a single 12. It's a stereo integrity SQL12. My frequency spectrum is, I'm sweating because I don't have the AC on because I want it to be quiet for this video. It's a little warm in Vegas still. It's like 91 degrees, but I digress again. My frequency spectrum in my car, in my previous video, I said I had my sub from 24 to 80 because I didn't like the way 20 hertz sounded. That was with the previous box that I had. With this Harmony audio box that I have now, it plays well. So my frequency spectrum in my car is from 20 hertz all the way to 20,000. That is the whole spectrum of human hearing. We can only hear, technically, we can only hear 20 to 20,000 hertz. That's our range, in our audible range for us. Now, before I continue, some of you might say, I have a sub that plays down to 15 hertz. I have a sub that plays down to 15 hertz, 10 hertz. And I mean, there's a video floating around with the stereo integrity SQL12 playing down to 8 hertz in a sealed box. You'll hear the piston movement of the subwoofer, but you don't hear the audible, usable frequency. So if you're playing a song and it did a sweep And as I sweep my forehead, if you played a song and they did a sweep all the way down to 8 hertz, you're not hearing the musicality of that frequency. You're just hearing the piston of the woofer. You're not hearing that. So anyway, my whole frequency spectrum is from 20 hertz all the way to 20,000. So going from the bottom up, my subwoofer is 20 hertz all the way to 80 hertz. 20 to 80 for my sub. Then the rear fill in the door, the 8-inch drivers, are from 80 to 250. And then the mids on the dash are from 250 to 2700 hertz. And then my tweeters are 2700 hertz all the way to 20,000. So once again, without me fumbling, subwoofer 20 to 80, mid bass 80 to 250, mid range 250 to 2700, tweeters 2700 all the way to 20,000. I fumbled again, but you know what I mean. 20 hertz all the way to 20,000. But anyway, I digress again. Going back to the whole purpose of this video is to talk about my tuning, my frequency blend. The key to the smooth sound that you guys are hearing, I mean, of course, the speakers matter, the type of components matter. The Morel Elate Carbon Alto tweeters, they're mad expensive. I'm not going to act like they're not, but they're mad expensive for a reason. Well, I'm sitting here. Let me roll this window down because there's no traffic. They're mad expensive for a reason. They're quality speakers, quality tweeters, and they can play really low. Like when I first did this system, which was a mistake, but when I first built this system, I had those tweeters down all the way to 1400 hertz. They can play 1400 hertz, but still it's not necessarily good for that tweeter or any tweeter on the market. But I had them down to 1400 hertz initially, and they still played. Your average tweeter on the market cannot play down to 1400 hertz without sounding really scratchy, really bad, really poor. So that's just a testament to the quality of these Elate Carbon Alto tweeters. Anyway, I got my frequencies right, and they're up to 2700 hertz all the way to 20,000. Even so, there's still a lot of tweeters, good tweeters on the market, that still rather be crossed over from 3200 hertz. So that is where the warmth comes in, the smooth sound with these Morel tweeters. But I don't want to turn you off from using other types of tweeters. I'm just saying that helps with the blend. But even more important than an expensive tweeter or a low frequency, the blend with your mid-range. My tweeter and my mid-range. Okay, the goal that I was always taught from my mentor when I got into car audio, the ultimate goal is to get your car to sound like your home theater system, which is very difficult to do. And the reason being is because your home is in a huge space. Your home theater is in a huge space where your car is confined. And that means sound is going to bounce around in your car. And it's very difficult in comparison to a home theater to control these frequencies from bouncing around. So that's one obstacle. The second obstacle that you have to deal with car audio is speaker placement, speaker location. My 8-inch driver, my sub is all the way in the back. It's at least 8 to 10 feet in the back. My 8-inch drivers, my mid bass and the doors are down. They're down at the bottom of my door. My mid-range, my 3.5s are in the corners on my dash. And then my tweeters are in the pillars because I put them there. But otherwise, if you look at my doors, you'll see the mistake I made when I first started doing this build. I put my door speaker, my tweeters rather, in the wrong location. And the reason why I put them there in the first place was because if you look at a lot of factory systems in cars, tweeters are always put in the doors. They're just simple, easier to put in the doors. But this time, you know, I thought, let's do that, and realized that it's just not necessarily a good deal. Oh, sorry about that. I had to take care of something really quick. But anyway, what I was saying was I put my tweeters originally in that door location, which was a bad idea. Well, bad idea in terms of sound cue. It's just not the proper location. It's just not going to be good for staging and imaging and stuff. Even though I have a DSP and I can work on time alignment and stuff like that, it's still not ideal. It's still not ideal for proper speaker placement when you're talking about sound cue, time alignment, and having your center stage and all that stuff, your center presence and all that without a center speaker. So anyway, if you compare that to You know what? I'm gonna turn on my AC, man, because it's getting hot. Your boy is hot. Hopefully, it's not too much wind messing up the microphone. But anyway, when you compare speaker placements in cars to home theater, again, home theater, you have a much bigger room. You can put the speakers pretty much anywhere you want to, and you can control the reflections, the sounds bouncing off the walls based on the speaker placement, whereas with the car it's a lot more difficult. But also, if you look at your typical tower speaker in your home theater system, you have your bass driver, your subwoofer, mid-range, and your tweeter. Or even depending if it's a four-way type system, you have your subwoofer, mid-bass, mid-range, and then your tweeter, but they're all in line, and they're usually only maybe an inch apart. They're close, and the reason for that, the same thing in the car, is you want your blend between the tweeter and your mid to be seamless. Same with the mid-bass too, and the sub. You want it to be seamless. You want it to be smooth, a smooth blend, and you want it to be equally balanced. Now, I will say a lot of us make the mistake, myself included. When I talk about these stories, I'm talking about myself too. Myself included. A lot of us make these mistakes early on. Like with tweeters, for example, we think a tweeter is supposed to be like a real high-pitched frequency. But the actual truth is you want your tweeter to blend so smooth, so seamless with the mid-range that you can't even tell it's on. For example, take my voice. I mean, of course, my voice is not musical, but if you take my voice, you don't hear a lot of when I talk. It's just balanced, right? Or here's a better example. If you take a drummer with live drums, he's on the kick drum, he's on the bass, the percussion, whatever they're called, and he's hitting the cymbals. So unless the music is written for the cymbals to be really harsh, otherwise you're going to hear it blend really smooth. It's going to be really smooth, and the tweeter is not going to, he's not going to be bashing on the cymbals really high. He's going to blend it really smooth. That's how you get that good music, and you want to replicate that in your car. Speaking of that, let me turn my blinker off real quick. Speaking of that real quick, let me digress again. Let me go off on a tangent really quick. Yeah, y'all know how I feel about SQ competitions, SQ cars and stuff. I think it's a little, whatever, a little overrated, a little bias and all that stuff, right? At one point, I was talking trash about it. Not trying to start no mess, but I was talking trash. Like, yeah, that ain't the industry standard. I don't care what anybody says. I know what I like, within reason, and you know what you like. Who said SQ is the standard? Well, anyway, somebody left a joking remark and was like, yeah, this dude wants to do SQ, but he has a bass knob. Yeah, man, look, all music is not recorded the same. So for your everyday listening, which my system is built for, everyday listening, some songs I listen to are going to have bass that's really high, really strong, really powerful. Some songs, the bass is not present. That's why they make things like the Epicenter. Audio Control made the Epicenter. Epicenter is for bass restoration. It's supposed to bring the bass out when the bass is not present. I don't have a Epicenter in my system, but I do have a bass knob, so certain songs that I might listen to, I have to turn the bass up a little bit just to help with that blend. Whereas when you're doing SQ competitions, the songs are already chosen, and you're tuning your system according to the songs that are chosen, so you're not going to need to add or subtract any bass because you already know what songs you're going to play. But for everyday listening, the bass knob is important. So to the person who's talking trash as if I don't know what I'm doing, yeah, man. So yeah, take that with you. I know what the hell I'm doing, man. I've been doing this for 29 years, and that's not to say that I'm an expert and I know everything, but I know enough to know that the bass knob is not a tool to be used in an SQ competition. I mean, come on, man. But anyway, I digress. Going back to what I was talking about, that blend, that seamless blend. So when a lot of you commented on my system and you guys like the sound, you said it's real smooth, and again, thank you guys. I truly appreciate that, sincerely. But you guys have said that you like the sound is really smooth, and it's really smooth because my tweeters are balanced with my mids and everything else, of course, but my mids up there, that presence up there that you hear a lot, it's all balanced. And I think I've told you guys before, it's about push and pull. Turn the tweeters up, turn the mids down, or vice versa, until you find that happy medium. You want to push and pull until you get there, right? what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else in regards to that. I know what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say. I was going to say another thing. Like, okay, again, when we're new to this, we want our tweeters to be really bright, because in our minds, at least some of us, at least it was in my mind, when we hear tweeter, we think tweeter, like it's supposed to be bright and loud, but the truth is it's supposed to be really smooth and well balanced. We want our tweeters to be really smooth, really balanced. It got cut off, so hopefully I didn't miss anything. I don't want to backtrack and double back, but I was saying that when we hear tweeters, we think tweeter, tweeter. It's supposed to be loud like a tweeter, when it's not. It's supposed to be blended really smooth. My tweeters are blended very smooth with my mids to where you can almost not tell they're on until I turn them off. You know what I'm saying? And along with that, another thing that I've always learned, or I always share with people that I've basically discovered myself, is you want your system, of course you want your system to be loud and you want it to be clear. You want it to be loud, you want it to be clear. But another key for me what determines a good system to me is that you can't tell it's loud until you try to talk. That's good. That way you don't have ear fatigue, like your ear's not hurting, you're not sore. You don't want to be sore. You don't want to have a sore ear listening to your system, right? You want your system to blend really smooth, sound really good, to where it's not harsh. So a lot of times I'll give demos to people and they're like, yeah, it's not that loud. But when they say it, it's like you see their lips moving, but you don't hear anything because they don't realize how loud it is until you try to talk. That to me is a good indicator of a well-balanced system. So anyway, with all my tangents and all, I'm doing this on the fly, man, so I hope you guys bear with me. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get across is you want your tweeters, for those of you who like my sound and want that smooth sound, regardless if you're using these tweeters that I have from Morel or if you use other brand tweeters, you just want your frequencies to match. So my Morel tweeters are crossed from 2700 all the way to 20,000, and my mids are from 250 to 2700. Hey, if your tweeters play higher or need to play higher than that, just go use your mids from 250 to 3200, for example, and then cross your tweeters from 3200 all the way to 20,000. You don't want to have any frequency overlap. It keeps cutting off because I'm running out of space on my phone, so hopefully I didn't do all this talking for nothing. But anyway, you want your frequency spectrum to be from 20 hertz all the way to 20,000 hertz, and my frequency covers that with no overlap. That's the ultimate goal. But again, you want it to be blended so smooth to where you can't tell the tweeter's on. It's blended with the mid so perfectly, and that's where the warmth in my sound system comes from. That's where the smooth sound comes from that you guys like, that I love. That's where it comes from. Some tweeters, they play really bright no matter what you do. You just have to work on that blend, that push and pull, to get the tweeter to come down and be level with your mid. You don't want the tweeter up here and the mid down below. You want them pretty much in line, and that's how you get that smooth sound. You want to replicate the human voice. You want to replicate the sound that you hear. And also another trick, when I tune, I listen with headphones, because the sound is going directly in your ear. There's no sound bouncing around, no sound being lost into space or anything like that. The sound is going directly in your ear, so you want to get your car to sound like your headphones or your home theater. That's the ultimate goal. You want that seamless blend. So, of course, I couldn't say all this without giving you guys a quick demo. I am using YouTube DRM free music, so I know it's not necessarily popular songs, but still, I think I picked a song that's good enough to where you guys can hear the blend that I'm trying to display. And if not, please go check out my other videos where I've done other demos and stuff. I'll put some screenshots up of the videos that I thought came out pretty well when I used my audio recorder. But I'm gonna end this video with that, and yeah, man, hopefully, I know I did this on the fly. I was just talking as I'm driving and stuff, had to multitask and all that, but hopefully I got the point across. Hopefully you guys understand that. And if you have questions, let's talk about it. If I missed something, or if you want further clarity on something, let's talk about it, man. I'm here for that. But as of right now, I know this video is going to come out a couple of days later because I have to edit it and stuff. But today is Monday. That means Monday Night Football. That means Raider football, baby. Let's go Raiders. Raiders, let's do it, all right? Talk to you guys next time, and until then, stay tuned.
Hey baby, kiss me hard, don't kill my vibe. All my feelings on fire, it's all time. Hey baby, kiss me hard, don't kill my vibe. All my feelings on fire, it's all time. Don't you stop it, don't you stop it. It feels like don't you stop it, don't you stop it. It feels like I'll be waiting, I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. I see a map up in the stars.